All right, well, guys, we're gonna kick this off in an unheard of way. We're gonna start this show in a way that we have never done before.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna talk about TNA.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're specifically because
what part?
In reality, I actually have
Magnus match.
The X division is really,
okay.
some stuff coming along there.
So-
Is Magnus still a thing? I don't.
I could be. I don't know. So that's the thing I have to clarify. I don't get Pop TV.
You didn't have to clarify that, Alex.
I have not actually watched a TNA television program since they have moved over there.
I have not. Period. I've just seen clips on YouTube.
A fine CBS joint venture with Lionsgate Entertainment.
Indeed. That said, there have been some aspects of TNA programming that have sort of spilled over into the greater public consciousness recently. I am, of course, talking about the ongoing saga of the final deletion, the Hardys. Something opus,
Matt Hardy. Don't give Jeff Hardy credit here. This is Matt Hardy.
Wait, who's Jeff Hardy?
Whoa.
This is broken Matt Hardy's baby.
Look. Let's not jump the gun here. First off, let's establish what's going on here. This is a blood feud, an absolute, just a bitter, hateful fight between two brothers that we have come to know and remember
Tolerate
in wrestling. Matt and Jeff
Have to
Hardy.
know and watch fall off of tall things.
Yes, usually ladders. That has sort of morphed over time into what I would describe as an Asylum Films production of a backyard wrestling match. I don't know how else to describe that because it's.
Yeah, no, I think that's it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This thing's on the internet. You can watch it on YouTube. It's out there if you haven't seen it.
Is the official TNA site hosting it now? Like the whole 17, 19
Yes,
minute
they
thing?
put up a version that has because they're using it to advertise hey, we're changing nights.
Okay.
On account of SmackDown took our night.
Oh,
right.
So we have to move nights.
It's they have a director's cut.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
which is what I watched. And
So as I understand it, the version on television was all the vignettes leading up to the match made it onto TV, but then the match itself was half as long or something.
Yes.
Which so this thing so there was build up in the weeks previous to this. I guess what's the actual? Does anyone know what the actual issue is between the two Hardy boys?
What broke Matt Hardy?
What are they mad about? What's going on?
I
The
genuinely
brand?
don't know. I came in around the moment when they did their first big scene
Brother Nero!
in their hometown gym or whatever the hell it is on that house that they own. Yeah. When they with all the weird cinematography and the woman throwing the fake baby at Jeff Hardy, that was my introduction to this thing.
Same here.
I don't know what happened before that.
As I know it, Matt Hardy a few months ago, I might be wrong on this, was known as Big Money Matt Hardy, and he's big shot, hey, I'm famous, rich Matt Hardy. But then at some point he turned into Broken Matt Hardy or #Broken Matt Hardy. I don't know what the catalyst for that was, though. I assume Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, it definitely.
One would hope.
It definitely came off as I have an inferiority complex about my slightly more successful brother, so let's turn this into as much of a melodramatic thing as we can.
well, and Jeff Hardy also has a different persona too, named Willow.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is
That was
important
his
to know.
character back in Omega when he was 15.
Right, and he's shown up in TNA like that before. And I think when Broken Matt first showed up, he was dressed as Willow to trick Matt Hardy or to trick Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
And Willow is like a mask-wearing tree nymph of sorts.
Yeah, that is probably the most succinct description of Willow I have heard thus far.
A mask-wearing tree nymph.
That's
yeah.
exactly correct.
That wears fishnets on his forearms.
So this this is all dovetailed into this larger thing where Matt Hardy has amassed a drone army. He is really mad about Jeff Hardy's lawn care. And then eventually there was a match that took place literally in their backyard.
Hey, he has a great caretaker. His gardener.
I forget his name. Senior
Benjamin.
Senior
Benjamin.
He has a pro
Right,
wrestling
Senior
tease.
Benjamin.
But remember that Jeff Hardy at the beginning of this was, I think, lawn mowing one of his logo or tattoo designs into his lawn. And Matt Hardy decided he was very upset about this. So he created an elaborate drone army distraction so that he could fuck up Jeff Hardy's lawn care.
With misspelled Vanguard 1.
Yes.
That also works, though, because I could totally see that elaborate design thing being something actual Jeff Hardy actually does.
Sure.
Doesn't it?
It's believable for his character, which I don't know.
It's believable for him as a dude.
I don't know Jeff Hardy as a person. I'm not willing to go that far, but I think both Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, I think of them as being shitty in a way that that seems believable for their characters.
I heard a couple of tracks from Jeff Hardy's album. And
you hear the one about 9/11?
That one I didn't hear. I sure didn't.
Look up Jeff Hardy 9/11 song.
It's a real eye-opener.
From his band is called like Niazel Puss or something.
Yeah.
It's really something.
Okay.
I'll look that up later. But I've heard a couple of the more generic songs from Jeff Hardy, and this all tracks. This all tracks with the scumbag thing that we have been discussing here. And then the match happened, and the match was better choreographed than I thought it would be, I guess, is the way I would describe that.
No,
the match is nothing.
No, I mean, I would say, like, for something that you're pre-taping with no crowd and have, like, not all the time in the world, but you've got time, some of those takes, I feel like they should have done again.
I think you guys
like, some of those moves, you're like, oh, you know what? We didn't really catch that with any of these camera angles. We should probably...
Jeff, I think could only afford 2 fireworks tubes.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, I mean, that part I think was fine. It was just like, it was literally like the part in the ring where they're just like, I don't know, doing hip tosses over and over again and like cutting to cameras every time another hip toss comes out and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then they miss some of the hip tosses on the camera change. You're like, what are you doing?
I think you guys are misunderstanding what I'm saying here. I'm saying that I expected the most incoherent clusterfuck imaginable, and what I got was something that had some thought in it, even though I would not call it a well-executed wrestling match.
I mean, it's true to the Jeff Hardy character of not being able to see something tall and, keeping from climbing up it and falling off of it.
Right.
Happens numerous times during that match.
It's a compulsion.
I don't know if it's true or not. I saw some discussion going around that when the TNA people showed up to film this thing, the giant Jeff Hardy logo that was attached to the ladder or whatever was already there. Like they had built that themselves.
I think they just had one of those. That seems
Probably,
again like a thing the Hardys would
That
have.
sounds like a Jeff Hardy art project.
Because they have their own promotion or whatever that they run, right? So
Matt Hardy brand and Jeff Hardy brand.
Well, but I have their own wrestling company.
The Omega thing?
Yeah, like they kept that going in some form, didn't they?
Boy, I don't know what form it would be in today.
So I would think that they would have something for that maybe they would pull from. Anyway, I don't know. The point being, the match itself was not like some wrestling tour de force. I don't think it needed to be, but I think it was lackluster. For something that was built up this big, I was disappointed with how it ended up coming off.
I think for me to have been...
In terms of I love how dumb it was. It was real stupid, but
it was real stupid.
Just the finish of that match, the everything about it just seemed so underwhelming. I was really surprised.
Do you think it would be more effective if they basically aired all this stuff as just vignettes leading up to an actual wrestling match, like at a pay-per-view?
No, I think this thing needed to end with someone getting very injured. Like they needed to fake a nightmarish, hellish injury to Jeff Hardy to this thing.
Jeff,
he fell off the tall thing.
He's been deleted. He's even tweeted about it. He says, man, it's dark here in Deletion, and then it's dark and lonely here in Deletion.
The problem is when you have things like Lucha Underground out there where dudes are getting their heads kicked through cinder blocks and fucking giant glass bottles just fucking flinging around everywhere and people getting tossed through fucking offices. Like, what they were doing was never going to compare to that. It was much more about the weird, surreal nature of what they were doing. And I'm not going to say that came off well. I am simply saying that it delivered on the kind of bad weirdness that it seemed like they were building toward for me.
the campy direction that all of this stuff has taken, I think they nailed that really well in a way that and when I first started seeing it, I was like, this seems awful. But I came around on it, and all the stuff leading up to the match in that director's cut video, I think is, well, I was going to say masterful, but I don't know that that's necessarily.
You can say that.
Okay, it's really good. Really better than it has any right to be, and is I wanted to see this match. When it gets to the match and that thing is barely coherent and just a real fucking mess, and also not for two wrestlers that have made their careers on these death defying spots and stuff like that. jump out of tree, fall out of the fireworks thing didn't seem dangerous in any way.
No,
none of that
no.
red.
There's a
is
boat.
like-
There's a dilapidated
well,
boat.
okay, the dilapidated boat. I was gonna wait, but if you want to get into the dilapidated boat,
let's talk about the boat.
what the what now? Ed?
The dilapidated boat. Let's talk about it.
Okay, that is my favorite thing that has happened in wrestling in 2016. In 2 years, I don't know. But
All right.
Matt Hardy running at this boat and saying, "It's a dilapidated boat," and then taking cover under the boat to avoid fireworks. Actually, that part doesn't matter. It's just the part where he shouts,
Yes.
"It's a dilapidated boat."
That is
and
the
then
most important
interacts with
part.
Said boat.
All right, so that line is better than Zayn Nakamura, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the
Yeah,
same
let's only commit that.
conversation.
All
It's in the same conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I
up-
agree.
It's a 5-star dilapidated boat line of dialogue.
It's in the top 10 of all time of dilapidated boat dialogue.
For sure.
So here's
it's up there. It's better than he's got a bicycle.
yeah.
Oh, he's got a bicycle. Is really
It's
good.
better than 90% of the things that are referenced in the Botchamania intro. How about that?
Sure.
Wow.
Okay.
It
All right.
belongs in that pantheon, that Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Austin, what do you got? You believe in
The
something
boat's
here?
name is Skarsgård. I just want to
That's right.
be clear. He's named the boat for its service.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you saw the aftermath.
That aftermath is worth watching. There's an
It
aftermath
is.
video that's like 4.5 minutes long. He makes his like baby child son watch the final deletion in like a private theater, and he treats
This
his
house that has a fire pole attached to Maxwell's crib room.
Forgot about that. That's and it's just like laughing maniacally. Like all the stuff around the match is pretty much superior to the match.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is I think what everyone should have done to watch this match was watch it on let's say less than legitimate stream. Not that they should be paid for their money. You should also go watch the video that they have since uploaded.
Right.
But in the middle of maybe watching this not so legitimate stream, the song "Brother My Brother" from Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back, the Pokemon movie, started playing like once and then again on top of itself, and that was the best way to watch the final deletion. While a song by, God, I forget the name of this band, Blessed Union of Souls starts playing.
Oh boy.
It was
Is that-
ideal.
Is that stream the reason you thought Rebby Sky was a ghost?
That is exactly why I thought that. Yes.
I saw that tweet before I watched it, and I was like, "Oh man, there's ghosts in this."
Well, like he was
And then it's
knocked
just Rebby
out,
Sky.
and then it was a very complicated and there were lots of things happening. Dan, there could have been ghosts.
I know.
God.
So the main takeaway from this that I have, and I am curious about your thoughts, before going into any of this, before any of this existed, if you had asked me, I would have said that both of the Hardys existed at somewhere around irony level 0. Like those are sincere, if misguided men of wrestling, and that the idea of something like this coming together with them would have been utterly impossible.
I'm going to start my own promotion right here, right now, called The Misguided Men of Wrestling.
Yes.
MMW. We run the loop. It's pretty...
Maybe that's what we should finally call
legit.
PAX Wrestling. That might be the good name for it. After this, I'm still probably convinced that Jeff Hardy is there, that he is at irony level 0, and that there is no, like, he thinks this is all actually really good. But Matt Hardy, man, he tapped into something that I did not know that man had.
Totally.
He's dabbled a little bit, like when there was that version 1.0 Matt Hardy, like all the Matt facts and the web browser Titantron with, Matt hates mustard. Like he's dabbled in silliness before.
None of that really presented what he was able to pull together here.
Oh, not anything close to the level he's doing here. This is the best thing he's ever done by a long shot.
Like this is Shakespearean acting. If you tried Shakespearean acting after someone drunkenly told you what Shakespearean acting was.
Yeah.
It's great. It's like that. Like this part of that of this program of this stuff is legitimately just fantastic. I don't, ironic, not ironic, whatever. Just the way it has gotten people to talk about TNA that I don't think anyone ever has.
Right.
In the history of that company. And I spent some time watching TNA years ago when around the time Christian was coming in. I was watching TNA for 6 months or something there. I don't know why.
Christian was what it took.
Christian was what it took. I wanted to see if Christian Cage
And
getting a
Tom Cole.
run was going to, like, if that was going to be the thing that did it. And for Christian more than anything. And I thought he did well there. I think he did better work than he had done in WWE. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just, it's, you have to you have to applaud every step in the chain that allowed this fucking fiasco to make it to television.
Totally.
Because at any point you could have imagined someone, wrestling, the minds of wrestling, the conventional wisdom of wrestling would normally shut some shit like this down. They'd look at it and go like, no, man, it's not badass enough. When you think about.
You're thinking about WWE, though. When you look at TNA,
but TNA,
they've been on death's door for feels like 20 years now.
So, like desperate times, right?
Yeah.
But whatever it took to get here, they got there. And they needed something like this right now, probably. Is this a lasting thing for them? No, right?
No, this ends the second this thing is over.
The sadder thing is that the thing doesn't end because they realize they need it, and it gets to a point where no one cares anymore, and they'll have squandered another good idea by not actually having it have a cohesive ending.
I kind of felt that while watching the Aftermath thing. There's some funny stuff in there that happens for sure, but watching it, I was wondering, oh God, they finally got something that worked. Are they just going to run this into the ground every week and it turns into what wacky Matt Hardy thing's going to happen this week? That would kind of kill it.
Yeah.
They should kind of end it.
If it's Matt Hardy on a tiny fucking Jeep with a big cannon on it driving over to Jeff Hardy's door to invade Jeff Hardy's door.
With the Road Dog.
Yeah, with Road Dog, weirdly enough.
If I'm the Hardys at this point, I don't know how you ever top this. I mean, I'm sure this isn't going to be their swan song from wrestling altogether, but I don't know what else you even do. This is probably the thing you will, maybe not the thing you'll be remembered for, but this is the late career thing you'll be remembered for. And
I think that they really probably messed up by not having Jeff Hardy win and end it.
Right.
Snap Matt Hardy out of it at this point to cut it off. By doing this, they've set it up for another match for Jeff Hardy to kind of get back and get undeleted. I don't know what
the final or deletion.
The undeletion,
But does that kill the momentum that, Matt Hardy's character is the one with momentum here, and by having him lose, do you just kind of kill that momentum? Because he won, he got a win over Jeff,
and does what? Goes and challenges for a title? What the? Who cares? Who fucking cares?
This it's for this unique,
logic, though, but for this unique thing, I think it makes more sense to have it end with a big thing. This had the feel, or if the match didn't live up to it, but the story at least had this, they're called the final delete. Oh man, this is going to be, something's going to happen here that's going to fucking change this storyline. But I just, unless Jeff Hardy just goes away and is done with the company.
Well, who's to say you can't treat it like an Undertaker death, where he's gone for months? He takes a big vacation or whatever.
TNA doesn't. I mean, they're not going to keep him on a payroll and not put him on TV. They can't afford that.
No, God no.
Have him take a break.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, regardless of where it goes, it was a beautiful moment while it lasted. It's certainly the only thing that has captured my attention from TNA in a good long while. So, hey, good for them for putting something together.
Yeah, they did a thing.
Something.
I might buy a Senor Benjamin shirt.
Sure.
It's a nice shirt. It's a good wrestling shirt, and that it doesn't scream wrestling shirt. Just looks like a gardening company.
All right. Well, we're going to move on from TNA.